The mind-blowing second season of the Umbrella Academy is loaded with hidden details, comic book Easter eggs, and a trail of clues predicting the big cliffhanger ending. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video I'm revealing everything you missed in the Umbrella Academy Season 2. Just before we begin, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. More on why they're a great place to build a website at the end. Spoilers ahead, so take care if you're not all caught up. One of the many great things about Season 2 was seeing Pogo again, this time as a baby, and discovering that he was once a budding astronaut. And there was a little Easter egg to the chimpanzee's time and space in the scene where Five tries to buy some candy from a vending machine. To the left of the candy that Five wants is another chocolate bar with the slogan, "Take flight with Pogo Gogos," suggesting perhaps that after going into space, the Astro Chimp became something of a celebrity, at least enough to get a chocolate bar named after him. And take an even closer look at the candy bar, because there's a secret sparrow symbol hidden inside one of the letters, a sneaky Easter egg to the rival team that the Umbrella Gang discover has taken their place at the Academy when they return in 2019. In fact, this secret sparrow is just one of many clues planted throughout Season 2 that hint to the new Sparrow Academy. In the third episode, there's a sparrow on the bath towel at the hotel where the handler is staying. And when Lila is thinking about what to eat, you can spot a little sparrow on the hotel menu. And a flock of birds, possibly sparrows, form the umbrella symbol for the opening titles of that episode. In addition to that, there's a sparrow on a calendar at Allison and Ray's house, and there are a couple of sparrow-like birds in a picture frame on the wall of the meeting room where Five goes to kill the Commission's board of directors. You can also see a sparrow symbol on the blackboard inside Reginald Hargreeves' secret room. And when Old Man Five opens his briefcase just before the Kennedy assassination, you can see a sparrow emblem on a paper just above Vanya's book from Season 1. And then there's a small sparrow on the kill order that the handler issued for Lila's parents. In the finale, you can also spot the new Sparrow Academy coat of arms on Ben's jacket, and also on the wall behind Hargreeves. Some other interesting connections that certain characters may have with the Sparrow Academy are the handler who wears a bath towel on her head with a little bird on top. And Sissy's son Harlan often plays with a toy bird throughout Season 2, which we also see him levitating in the finale. This is just a theory, but could Harlan grow up to become the father of one of the Sparrow Academy team? And is the handler or the Commission involved at all in the formation of the Sparrows? Given the sheer number of Sparrow clues throughout Season 2, it's almost as if the creation of the Sparrow Academy was inevitable the moment the Umbrella Academy jumped back in time to the 60s and began changing the timeline. In Season 2, Luther struggles with his situation, especially after he falls out with Jack Ruby and discovers that his crush Allison is happily married with another man. So he resorts to comfort eating as a way of dealing with his unhappiness. The scenes of Luther cooking an enormous mound of eggs or munching his way through plates of barbecue are a hat tip to the second volume of the comic books, in which Luther falls into a depression and ends up becoming morbidly obese. Tom Hopper, who plays Luther, told Nerdist that the TV series decided against using a full-on fat suit for his character, as Marvel did that recently in Avengers Endgame with Thor. When Luther heads out for a run, the show tips its hat to the training scenes in the Rocky movies, where Sylvester Stallone runs through the streets in a grey tracksuit and kids run along with him. Luther's running scene ends rather less victoriously than Rocky's though, as he trips and ends up face down on the ground after he mistakenly thinks he's seen Allison. The Umbrella Academy's powers really level up in Season 2, with Klaus mastering how to manifest spirits in the real world. However, comic book Klaus also has the power of levitation, and Season 2 makes a funny reference to this when we see him floating miraculously in midair in front of his cult. The joke, of course, being that he's actually being lifted up by the invisible Ben. We get an awesome 5 versus 5 fight scene in episode 9, when Schoolboy 5 and Old Man 5 are gripped by a homicidal urge to kill each other due to the effects of paradox psychosis. The pair try to outmaneuver each other using spatial jumps in a very cool scene appropriately set to the tune of Dancing with Myself. The scene is a nod to Avengers Endgame, where Captain America travelled back in time and ended up fighting with his past self. And there's another homage to Captain America when, during the fight, Schoolboy 5 drops Steve Rogers' iconic line,
"I can do this all day."
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
And of course, both scenes are a wink to fans of the 1960s animated Spider-Man cartoon, where the real Spidey faces off with a Spider-Man imposter, a moment that became a hugely popular meme and was recently given a fresh twist in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. In Season 2, Diego's hero complex really takes over as he becomes obsessed with trying to save President Kennedy. But there was a little detail in the season's opening scene you might have missed that sets Diego apart from his siblings. Whereas everyone else crashed to the ground when they dropped out of the sky in the 60s, Diego instead managed a stylish superhero landing, very much in character with his hero complex.
Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
The Handler made a surprise return in season 2, proving herself an outrageously ruthless villain. And one of the biggest WTF moments came when she decided to end AJ's attempts to interfere with her plans once and for all, by grabbing the goldfish and swallowing him whole. This is actually a shout out to the comics, where Five took his revenge on the goldfish head of the commission, Carmichael, by eating him alive. In a brief flashback scene where the Handler stamps the kill order for Lila's parents, if you look very closely, just above the stamp you can see AJ's full name, Atlas Jericho Carmichael. Also on the desk next to the kill order you can just make out the corner of a receipt from Griddy's Doughnuts. Griddy's is a donut shop from the first season where Hazel met and fell in love with Agnes. In season 2, Human Grace discovers a hidden room filled with Reginald Hargreeves' research, and on the blackboard are plans for something called the Televator, which is described as the next great mode of transportation. In the comics, the Televator is a machine invented by Hargreeves, and Klaus has one built to transport him, Luther and Pogo from Vietnam to Dallas. The Televator Easter egg in the TV show might be a hint that we'll see this device in a future season, especially given it also made an appearance on a comic book cover in season 1. And there's an Easter egg to another Hargreeves invention from the comics, this time the breakfast cereal Clever Crisp, which appears on the kitchen table in Elliot's home. Another comic book Easter egg crops up when Five complains that his siblings failed to show up for their time jump back to 2019.
All we had to do was be here. Didn't have to fight a giant sea monster, no.
This is a nod to the comic book short story But the Past Ain't Through With You, where the Umbrella Academy were delayed on a mission after having to battle a sea serpent in the Pacific Ocean. Just before the Umbrella Gang returned from 1963 to 2019, we see a brief scene of Jack Ruby watching a news report about the Kennedy assassination. Then there's a very quick shot of him grabbing a gun, a subtle reference to how in real life Ruby fatally shot Lee Harvey Oswald while he was in Dallas police custody. Oswald was the primary suspect in the Kennedy murder investigation at the time, and Ruby claimed he shot him spontaneously and that he was upset over Kennedy's death. There are many conspiracy theories surrounding the JFK assassination, and the Umbrella Academy show mines a number of those to set up various subplots in season 2. For example, the Umbrella Man, who the team mistakenly believe is their father, is a real-life person who was standing near Kennedy's motorcade when the president was shot. Because the real-life Umbrella Man was wearing a large raincoat and carrying an umbrella on a warm sunny day in Dallas, some believe he was there to act as a signal for the assassination to go ahead, something that was also referenced in the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, he's the signalman for the whole goddamn thing.
The theory was called into question when Louis Stephen Witt came forward to state that he was the Umbrella Man on the day, and that he was carrying the umbrella to protest the Kennedy family's appeasement policy towards Nazi Germany in the 30s. In the show, the shadowy Majestic 12 organization turns out to be behind JFK's murder. In real life, the Majestic 12 are a purported secret organization whose existence is popular among UFO conspiracy theorists, although the FBI and others say the existence of the secret society is a hoax. Among the alleged real-life members of the group is Roscoe H. Hillenkotter. He's referenced in the show on an invitation card to the gala at the Mexican consulate, which is where we see the Majestic 12 meet for the first time. The TV show plays up the nefarious nature of the Majestic 12 and how they seem to be secretly influencing events. The Sunglasses Man often pops up in the background of various scenes. For example, he seems to be on friendly terms with Jack Ruby when we see the club owner briefly talking to him in the first episode.
We okay here?
Could this be the show suggesting a connection between the Majestic 12 and Jack Ruby's subsequent murder of Lee Harvey Oswald? And the same Sunglasses Man is watching on during Pogo's astronaut training. He's a bit of an enigma, and the way he seems to be constantly smoking reminds me of the smoking man from The X-Files. And The X-Files gets its own shout out when conspiracy theorist Elliot first meets Five and asks if UFOs and crop circles are real, and Five replies using the famous tagline from the sci-fi TV series.
Well, the truth is out there.
And given Elliot's interest in spaceships and aliens, I can't help but wonder if his character was named after the little boy Elliot who befriended an extraterrestrial in E.T. Even before it's revealed that Reginald Hargreeves is an alien in Season 2's penultimate episode, there are little hints at his true form. For example, Diego warns Grace about Hargreeves and his nasty squad of lizard people. And costume designer Christopher Hagedorn told Nerdist that he specifically gave Hargreeves lizard shoes and more vibrant clothes than his colleagues, as he wanted to indicate there was something strange about the guy. And the face mask that Hargreeves removes from his head is also referenced to the same mask that reveals his alien origins in the comics. The season finale reveals the apparent end of the Umbrella Academy and their replacement with the Sparrow Academy. And the episode's title, The End of Something, is also a clever callback to the first season when the Handler cryptically explained to Five that the apocalypse wasn't the end of everything, but
just the end of something.
Now, you doubtless noticed the Handler's outfits getting more and more flamboyant as the season progressed, and her power grew within the Commission. But there were some more subtle details that also mirrored her rise to power. For example, in the third episode, you can spot a small red spider brooch on her handbag. By the 9th episode, there's a bigger spider brooch, and it's migrated onto her outfit, and by the finale, it's climbed all the way up to her hat. The spiders seem to reflect the ever-growing web that the Handler spins in Season 2 as her status rises. And the red sequin shoes that the camera focuses on when the Handler arrives during the murder of Lila's parents are a possible allusion to the ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz, which originally belonged to the Wicked Witch of the East. The song Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, which plays when the Handler returns to the Commission, is a subtle reference to Cinderella's fairy godmother. The twist here being that for Lila, the Handler ends up being a wicked mother to her, who deliberately orchestrated the murder of her parents. Lila's ability to copy or mirror the Umbrella Crew's powers is a pretty awesome reveal in the final episode, and when Five asks her how she can do it, she simply replies,
"Well, anything that you can do, I can do better."
Which is a little reference to the duet of the same name from the musical Annie Get Your Gun, where the two singers compete to outdo each other performing the same tasks. There's a neat bit of foreshadowing of Harlan's arc when in the opening episode Vanya tells Sissy that she and Harlan have been reading James and the Giant Peach. In the popular novel by Roald Dahl, a young boy ends up going on a fantastical adventure with 7 magical bugs, a possible parallel to Harlan and the 7 members of the Umbrella Academy.
I know you don't get it, but that is an excellent reference.
And after Harlan becomes connected to Vanya through the powers that she transfers to him, he seems to have some foresight or ability to sense the future. In the 8th episode, you can see Harlan drawing a picture of somebody flying above the farmhouse and barn, a foreshadowing of how Vanya will later float out of the barn to attack the Handler's army of Commission agents in the finale. There have been plenty of comparisons between the Umbrella Academy and other popular superhero teams such as the X-Men and Doom Patrol, with Vanya's powerful abilities that sometimes threaten to rage out of control, often reminding people of Jean Grey and Dark Phoenix. And it feels like there's a Jean Grey-esque moment in Season 2 when Vanya levitates the water out of the lake where Harlan drowns. Ellen Page, who plays Vanya, joined the X-Men movies as Kitty Pryde in X-Men The Last Stand, and in that film, when the Phoenix Force rages out of control in Jean Grey, she levitates a wall of water around Alcatraz. And suitably for a time travel apocalypse story, the Umbrella Academy also squeezes in a reference to the Terminator movies, when Hazel shows up in the midst of the 1963 Doomsday and tells Five,
"If you want to live, come with me."
I just love the incredible attention to detail in the series and all the creative Easter eggs added for the fans. And if you feel inspired by the show's inventiveness, give an outlet to your own imagination on Squarespace, a fantastic platform you can easily use to build your own online presence. Whether you're looking to start your own blog or podcast or open an online store, there are tons of amazing ready-made templates that you can rapidly customize to fit your requirements. You don't need any technical knowledge, but 24/7 support is always at hand if you have any questions or need some help. You can also easily connect your site with social platforms like Twitter and Facebook, and set up email marketing campaigns to help you grow and connect with your visitors. So head on over to squarespace.com/flicks or follow the link in the video description below, where you can try the platform completely free for 14 days. And when your site is ready to launch, you'll get an extra 10% discount with that link. So what other Easter eggs or cool details did you spot in Season 2? Comment below, and if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up is hugely appreciated. Tap left for my full breakdown of who's behind the Sparrow Academy and how the timelines have changed for Season 3. Or tap right for something else you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!